Today we'll be putting together the fish shack, and as you can see, I've already cut out the ground texture and glued it to the basing material, the foam core, and also did the reinforcement as shown in previous videos. So, in addition, I have scored along all the lines, and I've cut out all the parts. So you can see I've got all the parts that were labeled FS. I've been cut out of sheet 9F, or 9, and I've got them all here kind of arrayed before me on the table. And so now what I need to do is follow the instructions for the scoring and cutting of this this piece that has FS24 and FS18 and FS7 on it. And there are instructions for that. There is a template here. It shows exactly where to cut and where to score. So first we're going to score where it says to score on the dotted lines. You can see that there are lines already there where it needs to be scored. Okay. So we've scored along. I'm going to make sure we're scoring on the front. So I scored the back there. So let's score on the front. Just draw a firm line with your dried out ballpoint pen, and then we're going to cut along these two lines right here. That'll make the whole thing pop up into the table and benches it's meant to be. Okay, fish shack. Cut all the pieces. So then you find FS28, and you're going to glue that together, and that is going to form the central pillar of the hut. And you want to make sure that when you fold these tabs out on the bottom, that you can see their numbers, and those numbers are facing down. Okay? And if you scored all of these, I did. Okay. Then you should be able to glue FS28 to FS28 there, and you'll create this central pillar. This pillar is going to provide sort of the central structure that pulls, makes sure that the roof comes up and stays in place on the fish shack. So it's a pretty important piece to go on. You don't want too much glue on there, just enough that it covers the surface and kind of starts drying, so not too much. You want it to kind of start drying before you glue it, so it dries quickly. You can assemble faster. Next we glue down FS1 and FS2. Those are these two spots on the ground. Again, not too much glue. And line up your ground textures so that they look good. And you realize that as you're doing your ground textures, you may be covering a little bit of FS3 and almost all of FS4. Okay? So keep an eye on where FS4 is supposed to be glued down, because you're about to glue that down. You should now have FS3 and FS4. Okay? FS4 you'll want to glue down right on the spot where you just glued this other tab. So if you're wondering, where does FS4 go? It goes right there, where you just glued that other thing down. And you're going to want to hold FS4 for a while. In fact, you probably just want to keep a finger on it while you glue FS3. You can do two things at once. More power to you. And FS3 you probably want to hold down too. Both of these are being glued down kind of over another piece, so it's important that they get a lot of pressure and are really able to to attach to the surface that they're being glued to. Alright, so that was 3 and 4. Then we glue down FS 5 and let's see. So FS5 and FS6. Again, line up those ground textures so that they match up seamlessly. And I'm going to glue down FS6 as well on the other side. Okay. Now we're going to glue FS 14, 15. No, that's not right. FS 9 through 12. Well, FS 15 first. So that's going to glue this little fish fryer part here. We're gluing that onto the wall. Make sure we're zoomed in far enough you can see that. So this little fish fryer is gluing onto the wall here with FS15. And what you can do is just lay the whole thing down. And glue it on as it lies, because that is where it's going to be when it's glued. And then hold it while you pull it up. Okay, next we are gluing FS 9 through 12, and that's these front and back sort of counter parts. They go right in the spots. Again, match up the ground textures as you can. Try to make sure you're getting in the right spot. If you are putting them in the right spot, it will save you worry and pain later on. So you should be able to get it lined up pretty close. At this point, unfold the whole thing flat. Make sure everything still works. If it does fold flat, then it's doing the right thing. You do want to fold them flat fairly regularly, just to make sure that you flex into parts while the glue is still a little bit wet. Gives a little chance to shift things into place that might not be quite in place yet. Line it up and slap it down for that one. And again, you can fold it flat to make sure that you've done it right. Great. Okay, now we do FS16 and FS17 in that order. Well, no. 13, 14, 16, 17. Okay? So 13 and 14 are going to attach this piece to the roof. And 16 and 17 is going to attach these outside parts to the roof. And really the easiest way to do this whole thing is make sure your glue isn't too gummy. Spread it out a little bit. And then attach these to their spots. Fold it up and attach these to their spots. Oh, that's why. Doing the whole thing backwards. And the textures, you know, if they don't line up, just line these up so that the edges are in about the right spot. There we go. And let that dry for a little bit. FS8, and we can glue FS8 and then FS22. So let's hold it a little bit, make sure that it's working. Pop it down into place, there we go. The middle ones look like they're holding great, perfect. So then we glue FS8 and 22. That's this little outside crate section. 8 is the bottom, 22 attaches to the wall. FS19 is this stack of flour bags. Now, a reminder, you do want to make sure that your arrows are lining up. Go in the same direction when you glue things down. Then we can glue FS23 on down right there. Pillars there. Very good. And then we can glue this table. So let me show you how to build that. Bend that there. Kind of jimmy it up so that it forms a table and some benches. Alright. And you can just glue that down with FS7 and FS18 when it's ready. And it should match up pretty well. With the ground texture and the wall textures, so. And then you can glue FS24 on down as well. So we got the basic situation set up here. Time to move on to the roof. Is that right? Yes. No. This grassy clump. just goes right along the side there, and it matches up with the grass on the ground. Easy peasy. Now to glue down the roof stuff, FS27 first. And you can do these in either order, but it's much easier to do it this way. So glue FS27 down first, and then FS25 and 26 after. And that should be able to match up the textures there. A little bit of looking. And it's you know, something might pop off as you're gluing other stuff down. Just nudge it back into place. Mistakes are fixable. Got glue and paper. If you rip the paper, you've always got your glue right there, ready to fix it. And that is the fish shack. Now early on you might have to pop these sides into place, keep them going right. Fold it up and down a couple times. This roof you might want to flex just a little bit. And you might have to take a couple of tries gluing down this centerpiece. So we'll let that sit for a second, and then we'll be back to fold it flat at the end. In the meantime, we got these extra fish. Okay, you may not have cut these out, but if, like me, you still have them, you can cut them out. And these extra pieces are really here so that if there's a place where maybe you didn't get things lined up right, maybe there's a little piece you cut too much of, or maybe there's a place where I messed up in designing it, you had to fix it, you can just glue an extra fish down on top of it, and adds a little extra flavor. Or you could, you know, cut these out and give them to your players as food tokens or something. That's what I plan to do with them. And there you go, a couple extra fish. Alright, let's fold it flat and see if it works. Looks as if it does, folks. Looks as if it does. One piece you want to be a little careful of, if you've bent this piece forward, this little flour sack, then when you fold it flat it might intersect with the place where this little shelf attaches to the wall. So watch out for that. If it starts to do it the first fold, just bend it so it's flat, because it won't do that. Won't do that once it's folded flat and it's properly popping up where it should be. So, all right, and that is the fish shack. It's ready to go. You're all set to sell some fish to your adventurers. Hope you enjoyed the video and hope you enjoy the pop-ups.